Well, as we inch closer and closer to the primaries, the polls continue to suggest we are likely to see a presidential rematch. And a lot of people are not excited about that prospect. President Biden and former President Trump remain on a collision course toward November 2024 in what is sure to be a tight race if that does occur. The latest numbers from Emerson College show Biden now trailing Trump nationally by 4%. That's a change from last month when just 2 percentage points separated the pair. Joining us now to talk about the state of the race, Democratic strategist Laura Fink. Laura, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, we're still a year out from the election, and we don't know if these two will face off. But what is your biggest takeaway from this new polling?
Well, I think that it provides a wake-up call and a roadmap for the Biden campaign as it looks ahead to the vote in 2024. This is something that shouldn't be a surprise, but certainly Trump passing Biden in the overall number may be a shock to the system for that campaign. I think they have a couple of things they need to do to re-secure those voters. First of all, they need to collect their base. The numbers are weak. Biden's numbers are weak because he has lost key constituencies from his base. And so he's going to need to regain those young voters, Black voters, Latino voters. And in this poll that was just released, women. It needs to make gains with women. So that is the roadmap. And so that will be his challenge as he looks ahead.
And Laura, as we look at the banner that's on the bottom of the screen now, Trump's holding at 47%, Biden is down to 43%. What's of more significance, do you think, that Trump's numbers didn't necessarily move, but that Biden's did, and that they've gone down a few points?
Trump's has always held his base, and he has always he said, I can murder someone on Fifth Avenue and my base would still be with me. That's proven to be true year in and year out as he faces the criminal counts in various courts across the country. He has a low ceiling and a high floor is what we say in politics. That high floor says his base is going to be with him no matter what. We've seen the Democratic base be a little more finicky, and that's why Biden has work to do.
And what do you think is happening behind the scenes right now when it comes to these respective campaigns?
I think they're both looking at the year ahead. They're gobbling up this data. And I think that's important because not necessarily the head-to-head number, which is what we talk about in the media and people that are in various camps, how they say their candidate is winning or losing at any given point in time, but they look at the messaging and the work that they need to do. On the Biden campaign side, they need to talk about their accomplishments, and then they need to talk about what they're going to do in the future to win those voters back. Right now, we have a low information ecosystem where not everybody knows some of the things that the Biden administration has done. He's got to get that message out there and talk about what's ahead. I think he also has to draw a contrast with President Trump, former President Trump. He has to say, hey, you're not voting in a vacuum here. What are President Trump's plans for the future, for the economy, for abortion rights, for the things that these voters have said that they care about? And with that contrast, that ultimately may be how voters select on election day.
And Laura, before we let you go, at the end of the day, this is polling, and we certainly know it's been proven that polling can be wrong. So at this point, a year out, does it matter?
Well, there's some consistent numbers, and polling is never perfect, and it doesn't predict who's going to win, but it does show you where voters are at right now. And I think there's enough consistency in these polls that you have to take them seriously. But again, really digging down into how these voters are feeling and why will give you the roadmap to winning them back. And so President Biden and potentially former President Trump will have their work to do.
All right, Democratic strategist Laura Fink, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.